welcome to this episode of Mountain Slider Garage. We're working on our Arctic Cat today. Now we're going to look at a common problem with these newer Arctic Cats, which can be a problem with a lot of snowmobiles, not just Arctic Cat, but it seems like it's a more common problem on the Arctic Cats. What we're looking at is steering post slop. And if you can see on this one, we come up here, we move our steering post, got a lot of movement in it, back and forth. And that is because this plastic bushing down here where the steering post goes through this metal piece gets a lot of wear, and I think there's even a lot of play in it from the factory. So we're going to be replacing that. And there's a number of companies that make replacements for these that are better than the factory ones that will wear better. This is one I've used in the past. It's from SSI, the BDX company. It's a real nice piece, gets it pretty tight in there, gets rid of the slop. We're going to be showing you how to replace that today. Now, first of all, we got to remove the plastic here and the seat here so we can get to it. So to replace that, we have these two Torx screws on this side. There's two of the same Torx screws on the other side. And then once we pull the seat off, there's a Torx screw right here, same on the other side. We can pull the seat off first, and then there's a few screws we need to get the plastics off. So we're going to take these torque bits out. Now I've already taken the ones off the other side, so I don't have to bore you with doing that. And another thing I want to show you is these Torx screws. There's two different versions of these. There's this one you can see that's pointed on the end, and then there's this other one that is blunt on the end. There's that one right down there. See how it's not got the pointed tip on it? If that one had the pointed tip, it would cut into that wire there. You have to be careful when you're reinstalling these, that when you put them back in, you see what's going behind the screw. So the ones that could potentially poke something behind it, yourself, and I'll show those again. There's the blunt one right here, the pointed one right there. Those are the two different types. Be aware of those when you're putting this back in. When that screw is screwing through something, see what's on the other side before you do it and decide which screw you need to put in where. Now we've got the screws out of the seat. It should pull back. Now you remember when you're doing this for the first time, it's held in by a piece of Velcro right here that Velcros onto the seat. Usually when I do these, that Velcro has come unglued from the seat. Good, it's got this thing here that hooks it under the gas tank here, and then it's got the two screws, and then it's got these other hooks that hook it down. So I don't get too excited about putting the Velcro back in if it's come detached from the seat. Now there's 4 more Torx screws that screw this plastic on we're going to undo. Okay, now that should get us to the point where we can pull this plastic off that is down here. And we've got to take the gas cap off because the gas cap hooks that on. Lift it up above the gas cap, and then you got to kind of twist this part off. Just set it off to the side. Now, the toughest part on this is underneath here, this plastic piece. So this plastic piece, the bushing, is held underneath by a snap ring. And that snap ring is not the easiest thing to get off of there. Okay, so if you're having problems getting to and taking off the clip on the bottom of the steering post that holds the steering post bushing in, it's really not easy to get to with a screwdriver up under here and pull it off. If you've done it before, then you can do it if you work at it for a little bit. The other way to get to it, which makes this job a lot easier, it's just more time intensive, is taking the whole cap off. There's 2 screws right here on the steering post. I've already loosened them so we can pull those off. Then around the perimeter, there's 3 10 millimeters on this side, the same 3 on the other side I've already removed. So we'll pull all those off. And then there's the steering arm here on the steering post. with the 40 Torx bit on top, 13 millimeter bolt on the bottom. You can pull that off. Then the bottom of the steering post, there's a 13 millimeter bolt on the bottom that bolts it to the frame. And once we've pulled all that off, pull this cap off, we can pull this whole thing out like this. So if we pull the whole cap off, this part, that allows us to get to the clip, and the clip's right here. There's a little slot in it right here we can put our screwdriver in. And if we just pull that off to the side, it's a lot easier to get out. Pull that thing off. If we pulled this whole thing up, it only takes a few more minutes. So if you're doing this for the first time, it will make it a lot easier for you to pull this whole cap off. And then the bushings right here, you can kind of just push those out from this side. There's one piece and the other piece right here, and those are the pieces we're going to replace. We can replace those back in, put our cap back on, our C-clip back on that holds this in place, put this whole thing back down, screw it back down the way it came off. So now we got our two BDX pieces. We're going to slide each of those in here. That one's going to go there. There's this groove here that this little snap ring goes in. This is like the one where you take off the top gear on your chain case. It splits like that. Now we have to get this around here. The way to put it on is to kind of twist it on like this. Now it's on there. So we're going to split this apart like that. We're going to put the bottom one in the groove. Then you just kind of work this around. There we go. It's all snapped in. So that zero play in that. Now the play I have, that I have a teeny bit of play. My play is in my bottom of my post. Now on the bottom of the post here, I've already pulled the nut and the washer off. Now it's just got this nut and this is a composite washer. It's not metal. And it's fairly worn, and I had some play there when I tightened that up. So I'm just going to put another washer on it. And that should tighten up any play that I've got in the bottom here. I'm getting my ratcheting box end wrench. Get my ratcheting box end wrench. Tighten that up. Now I have pretty much zero play in my post. Pretty spectacular. Now I still need to put the keeper in there. I need to put this back in up under there to lock my new piece in. So once we put this piece back in up underneath the post, we'll put our plastic back on. Put our plastic back on. We'll put all of our Torx screws in. Make sure you put the Torx screws, the flat tip in, where it might hit something behind it. And then we're all done. We'll have a good steering post for the rest of the year. We can throw away these old Articat pieces that are loose and broken. And thanks for watching this episode of Mountain Slider Garage. Hope that you have a good winter out on the snow. And join us again for our next episode. In upcoming episodes, we're going to show you how to put the Elevate kit on this from Ice Age, what it can do with their longer spindles. We're going to do some upgrades as far as power upgrades. We're going to try some of the single pipe, the Y pipe and the can, and the ECU flash from Bikeman and TorqueLink. Some side-by-side testing with that with our other Articat. So I hope you join us for those. Make sure you subscribe right down here on YouTube. In the bottom, there's a little red box where it says subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. That's where you get a notice every time a new video pops up. And have a great winter from Mountain Slider Garage.